Communication Air.
Welcome to episode 34 of the Communication Air podcast, the Community Patch Notes episode of our hopes and dreams for 2024 in general, not just gaming. I have a lot of hopes and dreams. I hope I make it through 2024.
That's a good one. Yeah.
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 But before we get into it, we have a very special guest. We were actually on his podcast a couple times, I think. We have Matt from Crashing Game Night.
How's it going?
Welcome.
It's good to return the favor.
Yeah.
Come on, and I know Cheesy, you and I have been kind of talking about how we can do this and whatnot, and it's just been like, hey, what about this? And it's like, I can't because I adult and have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have kids.
Yeah. Yeah. But so, I mean, all power to you. You run a podcast. You're also creating content. And I don't know, as a parent, I don't know how you do it. Like, that just seems like a lot to keep going.
I got a preschooler and a first grader. Both do karate. So I'm at the dojo. We're at the dojo 5 out of the 7 days of the week.
Whoa.
Oh,
for
wow.
classes plus the podcast. Yeah. My oldest son goes Monday, Wednesday, Saturdays. My youngest is Tuesday, Thursdays. Thankfully, my wife and I kind of alternate. So we're not at the dojo the whole solid week. And then, Crashing Game Night that we record every Tuesday night.
Yeah. You want to talk about Crashing Game Night and why you started Crashing Game Night?
Why we started Crashing Game Night. This is now I actually have to shed a tear now because of the news that we had that E3 is officially done.
Mm-hmm.
And that I met my podcast mate. So Theo and I have known each other for years because we worked at IBM together. Older. And then he went to E3 2013 on an industry pass. Because a lot of people who don't know is that IBM co-designed the PS3 cell processor, and they also co-designed the Broadway chip that was in the Wii. So he got in because IBM did that, even though he had nothing to do with the chip side of manufacturing and whatnot. So I went to 2014 with him. We met Jerry and Jason in line for Disney Infinity when they first launched that. And they were, giving out the first Avengers Infinity figures.
Nice.
So I still have mine from 2014. And then we just hooked up every year, 15, 16. I didn't go to 17 because my son was born. But then right there at 18, right there when Resident Evil 2 was being demoed at E3, we were all the way up the very front of the line. And just the media kept cutting in front of us because the media gets... first dibs, and we're like, God, we need to start something so we can get media passes. And lo and behold, that's how the podcast was born. It was born originally out of pure selfishness to get media passes at E3. So we didn't get it for 19 because we were too new. We had the numbers and stuff, but we were just too new. And then 2020, we did get media passes, and then of course COVID hit and knocked out E3. We didn't have anything for 21. We had, we got media for 22, the all digital event. 23, as we all know, was canceled this year, and then finally,
it's gone.
That's it. But honestly, probably after the 100th episode, we finally realized that who cares if we ever get media passes? Let's just do it for the fun of it. I don't really look at our numbers. I don't care about it being monetized or anything, just as long as we give everybody a distraction. And we get on some guests from the industry that they normally people wouldn't have been able to see. So like we've had Kenny James, voice of Bowser. Mm-hmm. We've had Samantha Kelly, the voice of Peach, and Toad, Laura Faye Smith, the voice of Rosalina. We've had a bunch of the cast from Final Fantasy VII Remake, Danielle Masudi, who's the voice of Freya in God of War, plus game directors and stuff like that. And it's just, honestly, I thank E3 for that, because it's just meeting them on the show floor and saying, hey, you want to come on, and just maintaining really good contact with the PR guys.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey. We record 254 tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I just want to say real quick, like what I love about your podcast is that it's called Crashing Game Night, and that's because you will literally let anybody just like jump on the podcast at any time, just
Yeah,
randomly.
you let
We
Cheesy
do.
on, so like you let anybody on.
Hey man,
Well,
come on.
and to that point though, it literally is that, because I will have some of our past guests will hit me up and say, "Hey, you guys got anything going on tonight?" I'm just like, "Come join," or like I'll hit people. I'm just random, like I know that they're watching in the chat, and I'll be like, "Hey, dude, go jump on the link. Let's go. Just come crash."
Yeah.
And that's the whole premise. Is it's like a game night with friends and family, and we're just happen to be talking about games and movies and nerd stuff. But yeah, it's been a good ride, and you know what? Because the podcast met you guys, which has been fantastic having you guys on. I blame Johnny and TikTok. That's how I initially found him.
I'm sorry you have to see that.
No, it's great because it's some of the stuff that you do is just for clickbait, because you know
No,
people
it's
are
all
going to get riled up
serious. What
over
are
it.
you
And it's
talking
great.
about? It's all serious.
I mean, you did
troll
throw
on the
away
internet.
hold on. You did throw away a Switch in favor of the Portal. Let's just be honest. So
I got my Portal right next to me.
I mean, he's now a Sony fanboy.
Yeah, I'm a Sony fanboy.
Yeah, he's no longer Nintendo. So
Yeah, I got to redo my whole room and
it's-
everything. It's a whole ordeal.
it was a good run.
no, you can be equals.
Yeah, yeah.
saying.
No.
I mean-
you got to choose one.
For the listeners, we're looking at Matt's background that has PlayStation in the back and got some Zelda, some
Zelda,
Uncharted.
Metroid.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm a big, for me, it's like I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I grew up on Nintendo. Like I can remember getting the very first one shortly after launch. I had the Super Nintendo at launch. And 64 I didn't really get into. Cube I loved. That's where I found one of my absolute favorite games is Animal Crossing. And I've been stuck on that game ever since. And then,
Yeah.
you know, on the PlayStation side, Uncharted is my all-time favorite series. And
Did you like
to
the
be
movie?
able to have met? I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's separate some things, because Tom Holland was a great young Drake, right? But Mark Wahlberg as Sully just
I felt like
not
they
even
just
doing it for
played
me,
themselves.
even at the end.
Like I feel
Yeah,
like they
it's
just
just
played Mark
Wahlberg.
Wahlberg and Tom Holland. They didn't play Nathan Drake and Sully. They played Tom Holland.
I think they missed the boat though with Nathan Fillion. So
Yeah.
for anybody that's out there that hasn't seen it, go look up the Uncharted fan film that has Nathan Fillion as an older Drake, and it is fantastic. And it's got the guy playing Sully is the one who played the general in Avatar,
Okay.
the one that was trying to basically wipe
I know
out
who you
the
mean.
Navi.
Yeah.
Bill
You know who you're
Paxton.
talking about? Like no. What's his name? I have to look it up. But anyways, he plays Sully, and it's a perfect Sully, like dead on, fantastic. It was a great fan film, and it showed what we could have gotten had we had a younger Nathan Fillion doing that. I mean, look at how he was in Firefly.
Yeah.
So you could have rolled right into that. So we missed the boat, but I like Tom Holland. I like kind of the direction they were going with it. You know, it was a better game adaptation than Mario movie. So was Last of Us, Johnny.
Ooh, that's a hot
No, I
take.
agree. No,
Hot
I
take.
agree. Like, so the Mario movie wasn't an adaptation of the Mario games, but Last of Us was just the video game put into TV, pretty much. And
Pretty
then,
much.
And I don't know. I'm not gonna choose a PlayStation adaptation over a Nintendo adaptation for an awards show. Like that's just not gonna happen.
Honestly, Mario had a shot had Jack Black not Jack Black the movie.
Oh, interesting. You thought
Think
like
about
he
it,
was-
right? He was way
Yeah.
over the top, and it was the same thing he's done with the last couple movies, where he's just way over the top. No offense, Peach is just not. No, you basically turned him into this stalker, if you will, that is all about wanting to get married and find true love. When we all know, growing up, Bowser just wants to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. That's it.
I agree. I feel
Doesn't care about love. Yeah, Kenny
I
James
agree.
could have done it.
I think like the way they portrayed Bowser and the way how the people recepted Bowser and the Peaches song, and I don't like it because he's creepy and he's a stalker.
Yeah.
and not a healthy male role model, but people loved his character.
He's not supposed to be a healthy role model,
But like,
right? Like,
but
he's a
everybody
villain.
loves, like, the Peaches is nominated for best song. Like, what?
It's a ballad.
Because hold on, there wasn't much from an animated movie you could really nominate for best song. Let's just be honest. This past year,
I mean, I feel the same way with Ken in the Barbie movie. Like, they spent a ton of time on Ken in the third act, and I feel like it defeated the whole purpose of that movie.
Really?
Yeah, the whole purpose is about how you should, fight the patriarchy, and then they spend 45 minutes on
Showing
Ken creating
how
the patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
I mean,
the messaging
let's just
is
be
lost.
honest. The whole purpose of the Barbie movie is just finish off the Elf trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you.
Wait, what is this?
Why-
What
how is
the
there-
whole
how is
trilogy?
there a
Here's the thing
trilogy?
going on? Okay, think about this. So basically, this is one of those conspiracy theories that's going around now. Is that Lego Movie? Will Ferrell is the guy doing all the Legos and running, that whole empire, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
basically, what they're saying is he's gone from being the elf, putting all that stuff together, to actually running the empire, and then basically he's got the dolls and like the Barbie dolls and stuff in Elf, and then basically in his old age he's now running
What is
Mattel
this?
and doing the whole Barbie thing.
That is wild. I've not.
I
heard
love that
yet.
theory. I
Yeah.
buy into that.
It's
I'm
hilarious.
into there.
It's there's a lot of it going around on TikTok.
Whoa.
It's some great theories.
It's
So-
it's been a long year. It's been a long year. Anyway, we are talking about
and here I
2024.
am, like my I was gonna say, here I am like my podcast, and we're going off rails, and talking about Barbie movie. So I digress.
but we are talking
Well, I
about
know- Go for it, Johnny. Go for
We
it.
are talking about 2024 hopes in gaming, but before, we always ask the question, and I know you've been ready to give the answer, and I know you have the right answer. Super Mario Bros.
Okay.
3 or Super Mario World?
As much as I love 3, and
No!
it's one of my all-time. Hold on. My all-time favorite is Super Mario World.
World?
There we go. I did not expect.
I
that.
thought it was 3. I got
I
got
thought
so
3 is
excited.
my-
I'm like, I'm finally gonna have somebody that sides with me.
I thought you were coming
No.
on the show to set the
3
record straight
is-
that someone loves 3,
No.
but
No, I love 3, and it is my second favorite Mario of all time.
yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with just me and my friends sitting around before the strat guide even came out, like mapping out where all the prizes were in the memory game, like all the different things, and trying to speed run it. Right? I think we got it down to like a 20-minute speed run by doing it right. Warp whistle after finishing off World 1, then using your warp whistles to go all the way to 8. P-wing on the airship, swimming underneath the ship and all that, right? But Mario World, and I think Super Nintendo as a whole is what resonated with me the most. We were talking about it kind of before the show, but case in point, Metroid. Like, I didn't like Metroid on the original Nintendo, but Super Metroid is what got its hooks into me, and I've been a Metroid fan ever since.
Yeah.
SimCity, Mario World, like just so many great games, but Mario World, I just loved it because there were so many intricacies getting to Star Road, and you had the different levels that you could, get multiple exits and stuff like that, get the Switch Palaces. And honestly, it leads to my third favorite Mario, which is Mario Brothers U. Same type of thing.
Wow, you.
Nice.
Wonder is down the list, just like Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh my god. If I knew this, I would not have invited. I would have said no, we're not doing this. You canceled the show.
I don't know. I love how mad you've made Johnny. It's honestly been like the
I don't know. I
greatest.
feel like
not-
people are doing this on purpose now. I think they know.
Well, no, it's not. No, trust me, it's not on purpose, because we've actually talked about it on the podcast about my thoughts on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I think for me, Tears of the Kingdom is they just basically reskin Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's
You
what
know,
a sequel is, though.
and it's
That's
the
what a
same thing,
sequel is.
But here's the thing is, I don't like games who force feed mechanics to me. So having to use Ultra Hand to solve a lot of the shrines and everything like that just got to me. Like I love the mechanic, don't get me wrong, and the fact that we've seen so many Geneva Convention rules violated because of that game, and how they burn Karoks at the stake. But having to force feed Ultra Hand to me instead of like use it just like as a tool,
Yeah.
it didn't resonate with me. It just kind of started driving me crazy, and it was a mechanic. I was like, okay, whatever, and I lost the enjoyment in the game. And I love Zelda.
Yeah, I don't think I use Master Hand or Ultra Hand most of Tears of the Kingdom, because I agree. Like, I'm also like, I just don't have like that creative like eye for design. So like when people are building spaceships, I'm like, I built a wagon. This looks really cool. But
right.
Which is not even a wagon. It was just a piece of plywood with 4 wheels on it.
With some wheels.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you put a steering wheel on it, and then it's good to go.
It surprises me that you don't want to like use Ultra Hand or like that's another mechanic to use, especially if you like New Horizons, because that is what that game is. Like, I'm not a big fan of New Horizons. Like, I like it, but I like New Leaf better because I don't have to build anything. And I feel like a big part of New Horizons, if you want to enjoy it, is, building your island.
And I am now on redesign number 6, I think, since it's come out. Like, I am halfway through a complete redesign of my island right now, including terraforming and everything. But Animal Crossing is like, to have the freedom to terraform and make it shape it how you want to is great. But you don't have to, right? You don't have to terraform anything. Yeah. You could go with what your island started off with and just use it as it is, right? And don't put anything in there. I have flattened my island, raised my island too many times to count. But I just think when you get in a lot of those shrines, right, having to use Ultra Hand just to build stuff. To your point, right, I can design an island like nobody's business. I've been doing Animal Crossing since the cube, but I do not have the mindset and the patience to build some of the stuff people were building. Straight up. I mean, we saw X-Wings, we saw A10s. I mean, it's just people were just coming up with this ridiculous amount of things. So, but yeah, back to the original question. Yeah, Super Mario World will always be my favorite Mario of all time.
Johnny, how many do we have for Super Mario Bros. 3?
I'm changing the question to Super Mario Bros. 3 or E.T. on the Atari.
Oh my God! All right. Well, let's get this started with what we want from gaming in 2024. We got No Less Guy in the Discord that said, I did have to go into this episode with the mindset that you guys are content creators and I'm just a content consumer. The current lineup of games of the year looks strong and has variety. I'll be throwing in another 100 hours when Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth drops in January. Suicide Squad is going to be such a Hail Mary in February. It's either going to blow everyone out of the water because we all have very low expectations. Dragon's Dogma 2 will own March, and whenever they do drop next year, these games will be fun to try out. Plucky Squire, Little Nightmares 3, Splatoon Side Order, and World of Goo 2. 2023 was wild, but it didn't look like that at first. Nintendo had nothing on the plate after Pikmin 4 at the start. We all thought nothing could top Tears of the Kingdom. According to Matt, that's not true. However, everything seemed mashed together. Moment Under the Sun was short. Having these games spaced out is just a better move in general for the social media video game community. We can actually enjoy, discuss for longer periods instead of frantically going to the next thing. That last part I resonate with, because I just feel like I've seen too many people, myself included, just rushing through games so we can talk about it and then we just move on. Like, that's how Mario Wonder turned out.
I mean, that game didn't have a lot of content. Yes. So, like, there wasn't much to talk about.
Yeah. But would it have, even if it did have a lot of content, like if a 3D or a 2D Mario game? I don't think so, man. I think it's not as
Wonder
big as like, yeah.
Wonder's biggest problem for me was if you're looking at it from a family game, which I don't see how it won best family game.
They wanted to give it something.
We voted for Pikmin 4 because I think for Pikmin 4 you can actually sit with your kids and actually, enjoy it, and play with the family. But I think the problem with Wonder is it only allows you to have one save file per profile
Yeah.
on your console.
Yeah.
That
compare
is
that
a problem
to-
with the Switch. I hate that. I hate it.
No, it's not a problem with the Switch. Because if you look at New Super Mario Brothers U, okay, we've had 3 files going on every different Switch in our house, depending on what we're playing and what we're working on. Mario Wonder, we couldn't. It was one file. We couldn't like have a file for me to play through the game at my own. Instead, we had to have one for every, for the entire family. 2 is, I think, sharing lives is a big downside, especially when you're playing with younger kids. With a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old who normally use, Nabbit, but they're always falling off the world or whatever like that. So with Mario Brothers U, you didn't have to worry about that. But to looking forward to 24, I'm going to go something completely off rails on this one. And I'm going to say less layoffs.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Please.
Because you look at how much money the games industry made this year. Okay, everybody was hands over fist. Nintendo, PlayStation, even Xbox had a more up year than you would really have thought, right? But look at the amount of layoffs you had. Let's look at Bungie, right? They laid off almost a third of their staff just after buying a $1 billion building.
Yeah.
And aren't they owned by? They're owned by PlayStation now, aren't they?
They are owned by PlayStation. Thank you, Jim Ryan. Not. And honestly, there was a lot of expectations that were put on Bungie as a studio coming into PlayStation. And I think that's where some of the unrealistic expectations for Lightfall came. Jim Ryan was very focused on games as a service and multiplayer games. That's where he was starting to put his eggs in all the basket. That's why Naughty Dog had The Last of Us multiplayer. That was in the works. And then it get delayed, and then it went on ice for a while, and now it's officially canceled, which I think is a good thing because Naughty Dog makes amazing single-player, story-driven content for their games. However, you look at Uncharted 4 multiplayer and Last of Us multiplayer from the first game, it wasn't great. So you could obviously see it wasn't their cup of tea. But you look at just the sheer amount of layoffs, it's sad to see that many people getting laid off from all areas of gaming, and it's not high up executives that are getting hit. So for me, I think more focus needs to be on if these, just much like anything in general, right? Corporations are making more and more money because of inflation, and they're laying off people, and it's the same thing with the game industry. They're making money hand over fist, and they're laying people off. And it's all for the corporate bottom line. You cannot function with less people doing the same amount of work with gamers' expectations these days. I mean, if you're playing on a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, you're expecting realistic graphics. Even on a PC, right? You're expecting that graphics. Nintendo is Nintendo, and honestly, their first parties always push the limits on their consoles. And honestly, to the comment by the viewer is that Nintendo didn't have much on the slate after Pikmin 4, but as we being Nintendo fans all know, is that you never count Nintendo out because Nintendo's just going to be Nintendo and do whatever Nintendo wants. And there's still rumor that they may shadow drop, we still got 2 weeks, but there's still rumor they may shadow drop a Zelda.
No way.
At the end of the
I don't know.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, honestly, we've been seeing rumors of a Wind Waker and a Twilight Princess HD for a year plus now. So I don't think it's going to come to fruition, but I would love to see it still. But it'll be Nintendo being Nintendo. Johnny made the video about him just doing remakes, but I'm looking forward to Luigi's Mansion 2 on my Switch. But that being said,
people are remembering that game wrong. It's not good.
It is good, but I would say that it's not as good as Luigi's Mansion 1 and 3, but it still is good.
Okay, so I'm excited for Nintendo's potential in 2024, but I also know they will let us down. So I am hoping that they release a new console. And if they release a new console, I'm excited for what we could get with that new console. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to make us wait another year.
I don't think so. And here's why is that I think they were already showing off the console at Gamescom. So it's already built. No, it was confirmed the console was being shown off to developers at Gamescom. So they were able to actually see Breath of the Wild running on it. Now, granted, it was a dev copy of Breath of the Wild running on that engine, but Nintendo, they've got to do something, and they've got to do something quickly, because there's rumor of a new Pro Series X potentially coming latter next year or beginning of 2025. We know the PlayStation 5 Pro is on its way. They're targeting end of Q3 ish, somewhere in there. So I think right now you have those bigger consoles come out. I get it. Nintendo is Nintendo and they're going to do whatever it wants, but Switch was such a lightning in a bottle, right? And to your point, Johnny, I hope they do a Switch 2 and it does hit, and it hits hard. Because I think it's a great platform. It's an amazing console, but if they don't hit it right, I think you see us having another Wii U moment.
Yeah, the one thing that worries me is, do people care about the hybrid anymore? Because now we have the Steam Deck, we have the ROG Ally, we have the other thing that looks like a Switch. Like, there's a lot of that stuff out there. Yeah, but I think that the handheld market might save them if they keep it as a hybrid.
Well, I think it showed off it's done just enough damage to where you have PlayStation, who had the Vita, right? And you'd had people clamoring for a Vita 2. Jim Ryan didn't like the Vita, killed it off, but okayed the Portal, which you have the Portal. You've been playing it, and from everything I've heard, it's great when you have good Wi-Fi in your house.
Yes.
But I think that might be a test bed for a possible Vita 2. I think handheld, I mean, you look at Japan drives a lot of what is done in the console industry. They're predominantly a mobile platform country. So that's where that's why you have the Switch. Let's be honest, like they were already looking at another console, and Japan helped drive that it's a hybrid.
And Johnny, I think to say, do people care about the hybrid? They do if they can get Mario and Link and Metroid.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, when the Wii U came out, the marketing.
Also, I just want to say, I just said Link without saying Zelda. Like, I didn't say the Zelda game. It's Link, because that's in my mind. That's who we're playing as.
But we're not getting a Zelda game with the new console right away. We're gonna have to wait.
Yeah,
6,
probably
7
not.
years. But I mean, when the Wii U came out, it was coming off of the Wii, which was extremely high selling console for Nintendo. The marketing wasn't great, but they didn't have the games. Like, they just didn't have games. So they need the Switch 2 or whatever it is to have games at launch. Like, they had New Super Mario Bros. U, and then like a couple, like they had like Zombie U, and then Mass Effect 3, like some random games at launch. And then there was a large drought for like 6-7 months. And then we got Donkey Kong, and it was not pretty. So they can't do that again. If there's a Mario Kart, if there's a 3D Mario, like, they'll definitely sell initially. Who knows if it'll have long legs like the Switch, though.
I mean, I think it's the healthiest that Nintendo has been in years. And, I mean, they're making money just by showing us a number for Metroid Prime 4. Like, we still haven't seen that game, but you know that it's
nobody's gonna buy that game. Nobody buys Metroid games, okay? No, like, I know we buy Metroid games, but nobody else buys Metroid games. All right?
You don't think that Prime 4 is going to sell well?
It's going to sell 3 million copies.
Oh my god.
Maybe.
Oh, it's going to sell a lot more.
I don't know. No way.
But
the best-selling Metroid game sold 3 million copies.
But if you're saying that it's selling 4, that is great for Metroid. I hear what you're saying. Like Metroid doesn't sell a lot, but the fact that they announced Metroid Prime 4 in 2017 and we still haven't seen anything on it, like it's just cooking, and we talk about it constantly year after year after year. Don't you think that is like just free press for them at this point?
Nobody's gonna buy it.
Or
Nobody's
like
buying that. No guarantee. Nobody's buying that game.
4 million is still a lot of people.
But they're
to
looking
say
for
that
20
nobody
million.
is
They're looking
buying
for
it.
20 million sellers. They're not
That's
looking
That's Pokemon.
Exactly.
What
It's
are you talking
Pokemon, it's
about?
Mario, it's Zelda, it's Animal Crossing, it's Smash Brothers. Like
Oh
they
my
have
God,
so
dude.
many 20 million sellers. They don't care about Metroid.
Okay, so I will agree with Johnny on this, is that I think Metroid is a niche franchise. You know, but that being said, there is a huge, population out there that does want to play it. Both from, we saw it with Metroid Dread, right? And how well that did after being dormant for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we look at Metroid Prime Remastered, it sold well enough that they had to order more cartridges for retailers.
Yeah, but
and get
I don't
them
think it
made
even
because,
sold like 1 million copies.
But I think where we're looking at I think to the point is that it's been since 2017, somewhere around there, that they first announced Metroid Prime 4. We all remember Reggie during E3 announcing that.
Yeah.
And actually it was earlier than that. It would have been because it wasn't 2017, because that's when my kiddo was born. I was working at a different company completely. So I want to say it was 2016
For
something
the
like that.
announcement?
For the announcement, just the teaser trailer.
That was 2017 E3. It was the same direct as the Mario Odyssey that's dropping in October.
It was, so 2017. But here's the thing, is that Bandai Namco screwed up so badly that they had to go get Retro to do it. And Retro had to scrap the entire thing and start over. And I think that hurt the momentum that Metroid Prime had. And yes, Metroid Prime Remastered really kind of ignited that fan base again. But they've let it die off by not having a follow-up in Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remasters.
Yeah.
Like, we already know they're being worked on. They should have been ready to go. So you could keep it going to where I think, maybe hopefully in January we get a Metroid 2 remastered. February, March, we get Metroid Prime 3 remastered. I'm guessing probably summer is when we see Prime 4. And you never know, Prime 4 could actually be a hybrid console.
Yeah,
like
I think that's
Zelda
what,
was.
I can
where
see
you're
that
gonna have
being there.
where you're gonna have it launching on the Switch and the Switch 2. Because you got to think, to Johnny's point, you're not gonna have a Zelda. There's no way they're gonna have a Zelda, a new whatever iteration
At least
of
a new
Zelda
Zelda.
they're coming with. Brand new Zelda, you're not gonna have that ready to go next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Given all the work they put into Tears.
Yeah, but I think they will have a Mario Kart, and they will have a 3D Mario, and those are the games that sell systems. And the Metroids and what are some other, like Pikmin's? They're like supplemental games that are good for to have, but they're not system sellers.
So Johnny, to your point, 1.09 million units of Metroid Prime have been sold.
Yeah, which
those are just physical copies, because we know Nintendo doesn't include their digital sales all the time in their numbers.
So what are you doing, people? There's 130 million of you out there. But we know everybody has at least 2, so there's 70 million people out there.
Switches, is that what you're saying?
Switches, yeah.
Yeah.
There should be 70 million copies of Metroid Prime sold. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying like I want Metroid to be bigger than it is. Like Metroid could be a series like Mario and Zelda. Like the lore, like
I don't think you will. Because the difficulty. There is a reason why the genre is called Metroidvania.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people do not have the patience for those games. Especially look at Dread and what Mercury Steam had done with that game. Like the difficulty on that game was through the roof compared to the past 3D side scroller or the 2D side scrollers that Metroid was. So it's a niche. Yes, it's Samus is synonymous with Metroid. And Nintendo, don't get me wrong, but when you think of Nintendo, you think of Mario first, and you think of Zelda right behind it. That's pretty much it. Those games have been the dominant games for a while, and there's a reason why Nintendo hasn't ordered up more Metroid games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm changing subject from Metroid.
Go for it.
But by Metroid. I don't know if you're a Pokemon fan, but I've been talking a lot about Pokemon recently. And
I've been laughing hysterically.
And Clockwork Clone in the Discord said, as far as my hopes, I hope Game Freak announces their best announcement yet. Extra year of focus development for Gen 10. I think they need more than a year. Are you a Pokemon fan?
I am. I've tried getting into it. My kids love it. It's not great. I've tried it. I have Sword on my system. I can't ever manage to get back into that game and play it. I get all the Pokemon, I know who they are, but the games are just to me. Scarlet and Violet, I tried playing that one, not great. And the fact is they're not releasing polished games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Game Freak prints money with Pokemon. How do you not have even the testers to play that? And figure out where your holes are.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how they're just like, whatever. People are going to buy this anyway, so.
You guys should invite me to the server so I can actually go look at some of these comments that are in the chat.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Yeah, we'll send you the link.
Shoot me over the link so I can. But anyways, Johnny, I got a question for you on Mario Kart.
Okay.
This is a buddy of mine posed this question. For the next iteration of Mario Kart, how would you feel about them incorporating the Wonder Seed?
I think that would be
and how much chaos that could actually ensue.
I think it would be a fun iteration. I'm trying to think what could they do next? What would their next gimmick be after the anti-grav? And the way the Wonder Seed changed the levels in Mario Wonder, to see that in Mario Kart would be awesome. I just don't know if they knew about the Wonder Seed when they were developing the next Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's a good point, because has to be years that the Mario Kart 10, I think is what we're calling it, has been done at this point.
Yeah, it's just gonna be Mario Kart 8 Ultimate.
No, we're not calling it Ultimate. We're not calling it Deluxe. We're done with the Deluxes. I don't want to hear that word ever again.
Come to the dark
sick
side.
And tired of it.
Come to the dark side. But the next Mario Kart, I don't think it's going to be a Mario Kart at all, personally. I think it's going to be a Nintendo Kart or a Smash Kart. And then they're still going to support Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the next system. Maybe they won't make you pay extra. Knowing Nintendo, they probably will.
Nintendo's going to do that.
But I can see them running two racing games side by side and not one of them not being F-Zero. Because again, that's another niche game that nobody's going to buy.
Yeah, I mean, F-Zero, I've tried F-Zero 99. Not a fan of it. As much as I love F-Zero, not a fan of it. It's just... Yeah.
I'm sad right now. I'm sorry. I keep looking to the side, and it's because the Eagles are playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say we took you away from the Eagles. I was watching the Nuggets game. Oh, the Eagles lost.
Yeah.
Well, the Nuggets won, so Yeah.
One of the only teams in Denver actually winning. Oh wait, the Avs are too.
Yeah, the Avs are too. But like that Saturday night, we had the Avs, the Nuggets, and the Broncos. No Denver wins. It was bad. But anyway, to get back to 2024 in gaming, Gotham says I'm okay with 2024 kind of being slow year because my wallet isn't that big. And if Nintendo does put out a new console, it's going to take a good portion of my gaming funds. My next game purchases are going to be Super Mario RPG, Baldur's Gate 3 for the Series X, and if Ubisoft actually puts out Skull and Bones when it goes on sale, of course.
I love how I'm converting people. I feel like I've converted people to not buy Ubisoft games at launch, and I feel good.
Okay. As being one of the people that actually played Skull and Bones on the floor at E3.
Mm-hmm.
What
just
year?
Go play Assassin. They just moved over to 2018.
You think it's the same game? It's 5 years ago.
So no. Hear me out. Just save yourself some money. Go grab Assassin's Creed Black Flag on sale.
Whoa.
Because that's all it is. It's multiplayer Black Flag. That's what it was. It basically feels like an Ubisoft Sea of Thieves. But from a funds perspective, I would say try and wait for Mario RPG to go on sale.
You think that's going to go on sale?
Yeah, I don't think that's going on sale. Really?
It will. Yeah. Because it's not a main, like, you look at all the games that they do have go on sale. They're the ones that either they're just remakes. You know, Mario RPG, in my opinion, is not worth the full price.
I agree.
That should have been a $40 game.
I agree.
Yes.
I think any of these remasters or remakes should not be more than $40.
Yeah, again, it's surprising going back to Metroid that Metroid Prime was $40.
It was $40.
Yeah.
Was the physical 40?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, the physical was 42.
And it was worth all the $40.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mario RPG is barely worth $40 to me.
Damn.
It's an SNES game.
Okay, here's the thing is my bar for RPGs is set quite high because my favorite game, singular game of all time is Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
Which that was the all-star, like the all-star team for Square back in the day. And so for me, for some of these games, that were coming from that Super Nintendo era, which had so many great RPGs, Super Mario RPG is quite lacking, both in story, mechanics, all of it. It's simple.
It is a very simple RPG, but I think that is because of Nintendo.
Yeah.
And it's a good RPG to get to like get your feet wet in RPGs, to understand the basic mechanics of how the battle system works and how.
No, if you want to get your feet wet, go get Octopath.
That's a hard one, man.
Yeah. That's not easy.
If you want to really get your feet wet with what an RPG really is, go get Octopath Traveler. I would spend the money on Octopath. I would spend.
You can probably get that pretty
price.
cheap too.
You can get Octopath Traveler's been on sale on the Switch often. But even then, go get yourself FF7, 8, 9, 10. If you want to experience a good RPG without spending $50, go drop the $20 for FF7.
Every word that you are saying, Johnny's like happy because it's like 2 steps forward or 1 step forward, 2 steps back because Johnny has some words about the Final Fantasy series as well. So
I have words about Final Fantasy 16. All right. That is a cutscene simulator. It is. I could not get into that.
It's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful game. And even the mechanics are too Devil May Cry for me. And that's because, well, it is the combat designer from Devil May Cry that's doing the combat system for 16. But what drove me crazy about 16 was too many cutscenes. And they're long cutscenes. It's almost like Kojima was making a Final Fantasy game. I was just waiting for a save point to be between, in the cutscenes, all out Metal Gear Solid. So, but I mean, honestly, yeah, for listeners, I would just save the money a little bit, wait for Mario RPG to go on sale, or B, when it finally drops in price at GameStop, if GameStop's still around next year. Dude, they're struggling. They're laying people off. They're running stores on skeleton crews right now because they just don't have the business. Their model is being left behind quickly.
And I saw something. I don't know. There's some mixed things going around. I don't know if it was true or not. But apparently, PlayStation updated their terms of service to not allow reselling games anymore. Is that a thing? Have you heard this? Have either of you heard this?
No, not on a disc base. There's no way they could do it.
They could add a key, can't they?
You could get a key if you really want to, but you're not going to stay the industry leader by doing something that dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was just a tweet, so who knows if it was true or not. I saw it going around, and I know that was a big thing with like Xbox One when that came out, like the whole DRM thing, and they got a backlash.
So I mean, I could see something with more DRM coming along the pipe, but it's gonna be interesting because with PlayStation, that whole Warner Brothers Discovery thing falling apart and them actually uninstalling content that was purchased that was part of Warner Brothers Discovery. That has put more people onto the physical side of things. So I could see them potentially doing that. But it'll be interesting what will happen under new leadership. Jim Ryan's out in March, I believe it is. It's either March or May.
I think it's March.
Yeah. And then you've got the new guy that's been heading up the division over in Japan, taking over in an interim basis until they actually find somebody. Just, you know what, PlayStation, this is my thing. Just pony up the dough, get on your hands and knees and apologize, and just go get Sean Layden back. Or B, go get Andrew House or Jack Sherrington. But, Sean Layden had the company on a very, very good trajectory, and then Jim Ryan took over and bungled some things with the PS5. Let's be fair. But really, back to the comment, for next year, honestly, less layoffs, have companies take the time, delay your games, like make sure they're just polished, quit releasing stuff like Pokemon, where you've got frame rate issues, Cyberpunk, just release your games finished.
I mean, see what they did. Well, it's Cyberpunk. Like now, everybody loves it. Like if they would have cooked it for another 6 months to a year, like it would have been phenomenal when it first came out.
I mean, look at No Man's Sky. That launched horribly. That little small 6-man team at Hello Games. They've put together a great product, so good to the point that Bethesda tried to rip it off and call it Starfield. Dude,
no, Starfield is completely different. There's a lot of fast travel points.
Okay, hold on. Let's think about that. No Man's Sky. What do? You go land on a planet, go explore it for resources, and leave.
No, I know. I'm not arguing with you.
Starfield. You land on a planet, do some Elder Scrolls Fallout quest, mine it for resources, and leave. Like, honestly, no offense, Starfield has as much depth as Mario RPG.
Whoa, that is, I don't know that.
And I've played Starfield. I have played Starfield.
Okay.
And it's pretty. Don't get me wrong. It's really pretty, and I love the mechanics that they put into it from a physics standpoint and whatnot. But all it is Fallout in space.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think people like the Bethesda formula, right? They thought they did, and now it feels kind of antiquated and outdated.
You mean the let's release a game with some bugs in it and call it good?
That's it's like charming, right? It's like charming, just like Pokemon's charming when it runs sub 20 FPS. That's the charm of the game.
okay. Yeah, I can't. No, Starfield did not even deserve to be on the list for game of the year or anything like that. But real quick, shout out to the team at Turn 10 though for Forza, because they did do a ton of accessibility stuff, and I think that's my number two, on the list for what I want to see in 2024 is more games with more in-depth accessibility options going forward, and Nintendo, get on board with it.
Yeah,
because
it's
you are
extremely
so
weird.
far behind. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, sorry to cut you off. It's extremely weird to me that a family company, or they say that they're a family gaming company, doesn't have accessibility. Like they have great gimmicks and innovation, but like when you look back at the Wii, as great as that is not accessible to a lot of people.
Right. But like you look at what Turn 10 did with Forza, right? They put in audio cues for the blind so that they knew how to turn and where to turn.
Yeah.
You look at what PlayStation Studios, their family of studios is doing with accessibility for the sight impaired and all of that. I mean, and hearing impaired, they're doing so many different things to include everybody, but we're not there. I have friends that are in the gaming community that are accessibility consultants. Paul Amadeus Lane, he is a consultant. He's worked on Last of Us and Spider-Man and stuff like that, and he is a quadriplegic. And he helped work on the accessibility controller for PlayStation and give them feedback on everything. And he'll even agree, they are not, the gaming industry as a whole, with as much money as they make, accessibility is not great, and it needs to improve. And I think going for 2024, when you've got the potential for a Switch 2 coming out, you have a PS5 Pro, a Series X Pro, let's start really jumping on the accessibility side as well. Because everybody deserves to play games, regardless if you're able-bodied or not.
Yeah.
So for me, those are my big two: is less layoffs and more accessibility. Games will be great in 2024, just like they were in 2023. They're going to probably give us some really good stuff. We don't even know what PlayStation is even working on at this point, other than Sony Santa Monica is working on potentially another God of War. We know Naughty Dog is working on a new IP, but that's about it.
Insomniac is working on Wolverine.
Yeah. But outside that, you don't know what. I mean, you assume Sucker Punch is working on Ghost of Tsushima too. There's rumor that we're getting another Uncharted by the I don't even remember what the team is officially called within PlayStation, but they've been working on it. It's not Blue, and then we've got Blue Point's working on their own IP, but we don't know what it is. Even Xbox, we know there's games coming from them. Heck, they announced Perfect Dark 2 years ago. Where's that at this point? Where's the coalition with another Gears? It's rumored they're working on Gears. 343 is about ready to lose the Halo franchise if they don't get that really completely straightened out. There's already been threats that the COD team may be taking that over. Whether it be Sledgehammer or Treyarch or one of those guys really going back to Halo. So, but ultimately, regardless of what games come out, we've got to have better accessibility options. But hate to drop that little nugget, and cut loose. But I do have kids. I got to go get ready for bed because tomorrow is a school night, or a school day rather.
Apologize. We held you a little bit longer than
I even planned. But hey, this is what happens even on my podcast. We run over sometimes. So, but
it was awesome having you.
Great having you guys on. Coming on here. You guys, I've always extended. You guys are more than welcome to Crash Game Night anytime. You guys do have open invite. Just hit me up if you guys want to come crash.
Yeah, and you're always welcome back as well.
Oh, yeah.
So where can people find you?
Well, they can find us on pretty much every audio platform, that carries podcasts. We live stream on Tuesday nights to Twitch. The VODs go up on YouTube usually a couple days after. But you can also go to crashinggamenight.com, find all of our past episodes with all the videos, audios linked together, and a page with our past guests, including these two fine gentlemen, Cheesy and Genebo. They both have profiles on our website with links to all of their social media, so people can find them as well.
Dang,
so,
fancy.
That is fancy.
Yeah, it's a little
We're
thing.
not that fancy. We'll figure that out at some point.
2024. Yeah.
We blame E3 for all of that, right? Having website and emails and all of that. So yeah,
That's awesome. Well, thanks again,
but it was
man.
a pleasure, guys.
Really appreciate it.
Yep. All right.
We'll see
Take
you
care,
next
everybody.
All
All right.
see ya.
Catch ya. Be excellent, guys.
So, Johnny, just to go over some of our other comments that we got. Let's see. Names Jer on YouTube said at this point. Okay, sorry. I know Matt was still sticking around, so
Yeah, I
don't
want to like.
I didn't want to be like, hey, do you need help finding the hang up button? All right. The name's Jer on YouTube said, at this point, Prince of Persia is the only game that I'm super excited for in 2024. There's a few others I'm interested in, but not much. I'm kind of hoping it's a bit slow and gives me an opportunity to do some catching up on games I've missed. Do you feel like you're going to play some games that you missed in 2024 or games that you've been wanting to check out? Because I know, you make content. You've admitted before that you just buy games and then you play them for maybe 5-10 minutes and then
that's not
you're
even
muted. Oh, there you go. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm all like thrown off now. This has never happened before.
Someone has just left.
Yeah. Anyway, no. So I got back. I actually got back into Pokemon. I wanted to play the DLC, and it's been okay. That game is like, I want to like the game. I want to, but like then something happens, and it's like, oh well, this is not fun to play. Like it's running horribly. The graphics are like, sometimes it's just hard to look at. Like it hurts to look at. But I'm trying to get through the DLCs because I do like Pokemon, like as a concept.
You like Pokemon enough to keep
as
playing?
An idea. Yeah, like I like Pokemon as an idea, and I already found a shiny in the DLC, so it's like, okay, well that makes everything better.
Gotta just keep playing. I'll catch all the shinies that are in the DLC.
But yeah, then I have Super Mario RPG that I want to go back to. Pikmin, I want to go back to try to do some more of the post credit stuff, and then Metroid Prime Remastered I never finished. So there's stuff I definitely want to go back to, and maybe we'll see. What about you?
I just don't think you will.
we gotta have we have to have weekly check-ins.
Yeah. We'll make sure that you are playing some games, because you can't just be complaining about 2024 and not. Yeah,
but the whole point,
there are games to play.
I love talking about games more than playing games.
What? But how can you talk about the game if you haven't played the game?
I played it enough to have an idea.
You usually play like the first level, and then that's how you give your review.
Oh, that's for the most part. You could know how the game is going to go after like the first hour.
I have a friend that will watch movies, and then I'll be like, "Oh, so what did you think?" And they're like, "Yeah, we got like 20 minutes in. We didn't really feel it, so we just stopped watching." And it's like, I don't blame you. Time is limited. Time is limited, so do what you want with your time. But at the same time, you can't just give a review of 20 minutes in to say I didn't like the movie. It's not good. It's like, well, you didn't even watch it.
I mean, there are some movies where you're like 20 minutes in and you're like, I cannot watch this anymore. Morbius.
I just don't. Well, so if I started Morbius, I would watch it all the way through, because I got to find out how it ends. I just feel like, again, we've talked about this before, completing games, not completing games.
One of our most popular episodes, by the way. So other people feel the same way. They want to know
about completing games or not completing games. Yeah. Like, you have your backlog. Does that drive you crazy, or are you somebody that has to suffer through the game like Advance Wars? And can't believe that game came out this year.
That game, I know, I forgot it came out this year.
That's one of those games where it's like, I put so many hours into this game and I didn't enjoy it. Why did I do that to myself? So I don't know. Maybe 2024 for me is like not feeling the pressure of finishing games, but then for you, it's completing games.
Feeling the pressure to complete games.
Yeah.
Because then I have a more valid opinion and people won't tell me that I always have L opinions online.
Yeah, you're wearing an L on your head right now, so.
The one thing I did want to mention, this is about a movie that we just watched that was one of the most unhinged things I think I've ever seen in my life.
What's that?
It's Strays. Have you heard of the movie?
Yes, I've heard of the movie.
It's like
I haven't watched it.
The rated R movie about stray dogs.
Yeah.
It is so unhinged. I implore you to watch it. It's on Peacock.
Really? Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
It's just
All
so
right.
bizarre.
I might check it out.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway.
All right. Well, go for it.
But Jeff Troy-Vania also talks about Prince of Persia. Says super excited about Prince of Persia coming out and torn about buying it right away because what John Ebo says is right. Ubisoft games go on sale so often. I pre-ordered Jedi Survivor and paid the full $70 in April and it was half price on Black Friday. Maybe I'll wait a bit and get it on sale. All right, so here's an update on Jeff's life that I know.
Okay.
He already pre-ordered it. He got the digital deluxe version as well.
Oh, of Prince of Persia? I
Prince
did
of
see
Persia.
That. Yeah, because
So
they
Jeff,
said that they went gold.
What are you doing?
He also says Tales of Kinzerera. Is that how you say that?
I don't know how to say it, but I know what that game is. That looks really cool.
Looks amazing. They didn't call it a Metroidvania, but it definitely looks like one. For $18, that's a no-brainer pre-order for me. I didn't know it was that cheap.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that cheap either, but it looks really good.
It does look good. And cheesy, you should get the Arkham games. I understand the Arkham Knight runs terrible on Switch, but the games are good. They're 3D Metroidvanias. Is that true?
They are, yeah. Especially Arkham Asylum. Like that is a 3D Metroidvania.
Huh. Yeah, I might have to check those out.
Yeah, I mean people love them. I haven't played too much of the Switch versions yet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, like we talked about what we're wanting for 2024. Matt brought up what he wants for 2024. I really like.
Yeah, I feel like a jerk.
Why?
Because I'm like, I want a Nintendo Switch too, and Matt's like, I don't want people to lose their jobs, and I want it to be more accessible.
Wow, the L is really just starting to fit on your head. The more
but
I
also
at it,
want games to be more inclusive moving forward. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do my inclusivity.
Well, you just now are bringing it up because you feel bad about yourself.
No. I thought I was thinking about it the whole time. And a Nintendo Switch too. So
there it is. Listen, we to the listeners, we're going to do an episode next week that is going to be something. I can't remember if we've talked about it or not, but the following episode, we really want to have like a community patch notes driven episode. We won't have a guest. It's just going to be a show focused for you, and that should be out on January 2nd or something like that. So to start the new year, to say thank you to all of the listeners, all of the viewers, and everybody that's been supporting our show. We just want to have like a big episode for you. And it doesn't even have to be about gaming. You can literally ask us anything. We'll talk about it. And
it's actually fun. Yeah, ask us anything. I like.
Yeah.
And then that person that gets mad when you don't talk about Nintendo right off the bat, they could suck a nut.
Whoa.
But all right. Well, yeah, next week we will have an episode. I honestly don't know what it's going to be, but it will be the
holidays.
It'll be the day after Christmas.
Going into the end of the year, you know, we're celebrating, drinking our eggnog, and kind of whatever happens, and then we'll get into the new year and have more debates for you. But Johnny, where can people find you?
I'm Johnny Bo everywhere: Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and the Nintendo Powercast.
That is right. That is a Nintendo news podcast. So every week some kind of Nintendo news. Right now, it's pretty dry. We should hear something about Frosty Fest, I would think, because that still is happening. But
Sure.
as far as Nintendo stuff, that's pretty much all we got. You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and the Nintendo Powercast as well. CheezyC64, CheezyC64. Johnny, close us out. What do you got to say?
Happy holidays.
Even though we'll see them next week.
No, it'll be after Christmas.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it will be after Christmas.
Oh, do it again. Happy holidays. And I think we're in the middle of Hanukkah. I don't know. So
no, Hanukkah is done. That ended already.
Well, hopefully if anybody celebrated Hanukkah, you had a wonderful Hanukkah. Whoever celebrates Christmas, Merry Christmas. Oh no,
Anybody that celebrates Festivus, we hope you have a great Festivus.
I don't know the other holidays, and I feel like
Kwanzaa.
That's a problem from my upbringing. But happy holidays.